Hi.
Sunny this weekend. Yay!
Yay! It is sunny this weekend. Is it the weekend? Oh, it's Monday. What's she talking about? It's still like a week away from the weekend. Oh well, it's a nice sunny day. That's definitely true. Here we are at Vespucci Beach. So hello everybody. I'm the Missing Sock. Welcome back for more Grand Theft Auto 5 Online. Yeah, so today is going to be all about the Buzzard Attack Chopper. Here's one right here. So I put our little attack chopper right here. So yeah, this one, the attack chopper is probably one of the top tips for players. You know, if there's a, I was going to probably do a tip video sometime in the future, and I realized one of the top tips would be to buy a Buzzard, buy a company and buy a Buzzard. And, it could take a lot of time in the video, so I thought we'll probably just do our own Buzzard video, and then it's one big tip video. Buy a Buzzard. Yeah, so it's probably the best purchase in the game. Best vehicle purchase in the game. Yeah, best value in the game. Not sure if it's necessarily the best vehicle in the game, but the best value, I would probably say, the best bang for your buck. It's definitely my workhorse. You know, I use it all the time, everywhere I go, all the time. It's most valuable in the CEO companies, though, definitely. But you can use it all over the place. I use mine for MC sales, my motorcycle club sales when I'm doing business sales. Basically, a lot of times you'll load up a sale, and you'll quite often, let me switch over to my map here. You know, you could be at your MC sale, and I think my Coke place is right around here, or my pot place is right up here. And say sometimes it sends you over to the airport, to do the sale. You got a plane, or maybe you have helicopters to take away. So a lot of times having this with you, already ready, can save you a lot of time. But that's not really the main reason why it's the best purchase in the game. So we'll just go through it all. So let's start with the basics first, as a basic vehicle. So let's have a look at it on the website. So you bring up your website, and you go to Warstock Cash and Carry. Here's our Warstock Cash and Carry site. Let's go all the way down, 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 down. And here's the Buzzard. And right now it is on sale until May 15th, 2017. And they do bring it on sale off and on. So if you missed the sale, then you should be able to still get it sometime in the future. And it will definitely pay for itself. So it's worth the price even if you don't buy it on sale. Okay, so the Buzzard Attack Chopper. It's normally $1,750,000. Okay, on sale right now, 25% off till May 15th, and that's $1,312,500. So let's see, the Buzzard is a light compact helicopter for military or millionaire use. We're definitely a little bit of both sometimes, but we lean on the millionaire side. With a five-bladed main rotor and a lethal top speed, it's widely considered to be the best performing helicopter in its class. These hardly ever drop out of the sky, like a stone. Helicopters are one of the safest ways to travel. nice word to put right after that. These hardly ever drop out of the sky like a stone. Helicopters are one of the safest ways to travel. That's funny. So, yeah, you buy it there, and then it becomes a Pegasus vehicle. So you bring it up on your phone here, and we go to contacts. And I usually find it's easier just to go up. And then you go from the bottom up, and there's Pegasus right there. Okay, and you can call them in, and they arrive at the nearest airport. But really, these days, what's made it different from the last couple of years, the Buzzard's now way better since they had the CEO launch, which I think was last year, just before summer, around summertime. They launched the first CEO stuff, and now you can buy a office. So you buy the offices through the website here, and you'd go through Dynasty 8 Executive, okay, and then from there you would buy an office, one of these 4 offices. Maze Bank is only $1 million, assuming it's not on sale. So it's not too bad of a purchase. So you'd buy the Maze Bank and the Buzzard, and like I said, they will pay for themselves eventually. And then some. Okay, so you'd buy that, and then you'd be set for the 2 of them. Now, why do you want the 2 of those if you have never done this before? It's because at that point in your interactive menu, which is you just hold down the select button on your controller, or M on the keyboard on the PC, and then from there you can go into your interactive menu. Okay, so let me just go retire just to show you guys from the start. So once you have a company, you would just go into your active menu, hold down select, and then from there you have Motorcycle Club if you have one, and Secure Serve. Secure Serve is part of the CEO stuff, so you'd go in there, and then you'd register as a CEO. And at that point we're now a full-fledged CEO for our office that we already own, just like we were looking at in there. So we become a CEO, there we go, and now we can actually go into the Secure Serve CEO menu, and then it now appears at the top. And from there we can go in here and go down to our CEO vehicles. And if you go in the CEO vehicles, these are instant spawn vehicles. So if you call the mechanic, he's only limited to your cars. But he's generally limited. It takes a little while to show up. He generally shows up in the area around you, you know, not too close by. These are instant spawn vehicles. And if you already own the vehicle, not always all of them. I guess the BJ is just kind of a bonus, I guess, for buying the office. You get that for free. But usually, if you own the vehicle, it becomes free instead of having to pay a price like these ones. So I'm pretty sure if I bought a Cognoscenti, it would let me spawn them for free. But either way, we have a Buzzard, and it lets us spawn it for free once you own it. Otherwise, I think it's $25,000, and you don't want to do that because that's expensive. And most missions, you'll be making no profit by spawning them in. But once you buy one, then it's free, and then it's awesome. And then from there, you can actually have 2 helicopters, or 2 for 1, if you want to do other things. Let me see if it spawns. Let me spawns it here on the beach here. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, way over there. Let's go over there and grab it. So as you just seen, I spawned it in. So that's my personal helicopter, and I'll explain that in a minute. We'll get to that stuff in a moment. But I've just used the CEO menu and instantly spawned in this helicopter. So if you imagined you were in the middle of all kinds of missions, watch it. As you can see, it just put it right near the pillar. Yeah, it's not the greatest spawner sometimes. You can pull it away pretty easily. It takes a little bit of punishment. So let's park it over here for a second. There we go. Yeah, and over time, if you go to certain places like your car warehouse or your crate warehouses, you'll learn certain places that you should spawn them in. I know a few places around where I go that I spawn these in all the time, and then it reliably, semi-reliably, spawns in where I want it to. Instead of some spot like you just seen way over there, it'll spawn in, you know, like I'd learned that if I stand over here, it spawns in this parking spot over there, and then I just start using that on purpose around wherever you go. Okay? So, right now, as you guys just seen, this is how you can have 1 Buzzard and have 2 for 1. Yay! So if you have a friend without a Buzzard, or somebody helping you in your company, you can both go around in a Buzzard. So you can go around in 1 Buzzard, or you can both go around in different ones. Yeah. So let's do a little bit of a walk around before we get to the more advanced stuff. So just as a basic vehicle, let's start that out. Okay, so it seats 4, your whole company, in other words, which is kind of nice. You can sit on the outside here, so let me see if it lets me here. I just got to hold down the button. And you can sit on the outside here. And on the outside, you can actually use a lot of your heavy weapons, which is really nice. So your combat machine guns and your RPGs and your sniper rifles. So if you got a good pilot, you can really become a mean helicopter here with 4 good players on here. Okay? And that's on both sides, so there and right there, and on the other side over here. Okay, from there, you also have the pilot, and we'll get to that in a second. And you also have the co-pilot. All right? And the co-pilot is just generally a seat there, but from the co-pilot seat, you can also access this camera that's right there. That's the most awesome thing, the Buzzard's co-pilot seat, helicopter's rocket launcher. Like how it gives you angles that even the pilot does not have.
Yep.
And you can actually watch in here too as the pilot and see what I'm looking at and identify targets. Basically, the co-pilot can also access the rockets. So not the homing and not the machine guns, but he can fire the straight fire rockets using this camera from the co-pilot seat. And it takes it over from the pilot, which is pretty cool. So it makes the co-pilot quite useful. As well, the pilot generally can only fire the rockets in front. It's got a pretty good range, but generally the pilot only shoots in front. But the co-pilot actually gets a pretty good range. From this camera, you can actually get a pretty good firing arc that's a little different than what the pilot gets, and you can actually shoot at some angles as the pilot really can't. So it's kind of a cool little feature. If you have a co-pilot with you, you can take advantage of that and use that. As well, the co-pilot and the pilot can look through this camera and see things together. So if you, I don't know if you ever wanted to, it's kind of a fun little feature, but say you were trying to pick out the right target between a bunch of people, you could look through this camera together and look at it together as one. So you could see what the pilot's seeing or see what the co-pilot's seeing by using this. It's kind of a cool little feature when you have somebody sitting in the co-pilot with you. All right, so going to the pilot features, you have weapons. So let's hop in for a quick second here. So it's an attack chopper. That's its main feature, obviously. Okay, so that means we have missiles, and we have missiles with regular dumbfire, so homing missiles off, so they just shoot right ahead. And then we've got our machine gun, which is actually these miniguns on the side there. You can see them. So let me just get the angle right there. There you go. Yeah. And as well, I'll have a little walk around here. Yeah. I suppose actually close range side weapon and a partial danger is you've got this rotor right there. So it's got a says danger right there, it means it. Everybody I know who buys this gets killed by it, including me. So eventually this thing will get you too. It's just at that angle. But you can actually use it. If you're ever being crowded, like you see somebody trying to run up and they're going to try to get you out of the helicopter, you know, before you've got time to take off, sometimes you can use your rotors and turn it and just nail them with this. So it's kind of like almost an offensive weapon. Or if you want to use it for the fun of just nailing civilians and stuff, it's probably the easiest helicopter to do it with. Yeah, so that's kind of a cool little thing. Now we'll go through some of the cons of this vehicle, the bad sides. It doesn't have too many, but basically it's weak. It's just a helicopter, like most helicopters. It's not very strong. It's not armored in any way, so that's not the greatest. But that said, it actually can take more punishment than you would think, but it's still just a helicopter and it can't take too much punishment. And the another negative would be its price. It's $1.7 million normally. So it's not cheap, and I wouldn't call it expensive, but certainly it's not cheap, unfortunately, for new players. But it is well worth it. Now, the other downside would be to watch out for that back rotor, like we said. And the other thing would be this front. So this is all this glass work. So it's kind of nice that you can see around really nicely, but it has this whole fishbowl to it, and it's really a sniper's dream. So, you know, watch out for fighting other players with this thing, because they can really hit you really easily with this thing. Almost anywhere they can snipe you so easily. So you really want to be hiding, you know, around buildings or things like that. Get good at that kind of stuff, you know, run and gun and dodge and, you know, fire and run, you know, those kinds of missions. Or stay at a distance, but even then, watch out for the snipers. Okay? So it has no bullet resistance, nothing like that. It's too bad. Too bad. But that is quite the danger and kind of a negative to it, I suppose. All right. Now, another little minor feature is it has that light in the front that you can see. So let me just hop right in the front here. And it's actually one of the brightest lights in the game. This game. So see how bright that is? And that's not even the brightest setting. Here's the brightest. Boom. So if you ever want something to light things up with, you know, like your friends have a thing going on, you just light things right up. The sides of mountains, buildings, you know, whatever you want to check out or read. It's just a fun novelty, you know, nothing really useful, but still, it's one of the more brighter and useful lights in the game, because a lot of things you can't really move up and down the mountain like you can a helicopter. All right. Very cool. Okay. So moving on to the pros, I would say it's a fast helicopter. It's one of the fastest in the games. Gets you around the map really fast, which is really cool. It's small, as you can tell. So you can actually, like as you can see by the car I've got parked here, our Turismo Classic, it's pretty comparative to a lot of car sizes. So I actually, believe it or not, I park this outside of ammunition. I'll quite often park this right in like a parking spot, just like a car, and run into ammunition, do what I need to do, and then run back out, you know, and hop in and fly away. You know, when you get good at it, it's quite easy, and it's one of the few helicopters that fits like that. If you fly other helicopters, you get to know what I mean. Some of them are a little bit bulky, a little bit bus-like. You know, they're great helicopters for their purposes, but this one's just so small and so agile. You can fit it under bridges, no problem. You can fit it through things. These days, I'm pretty good at flying them. I wouldn't say I'm the top expert or anything like that, but I'm very good at it these days. And it's a lot of fun. And I would say, you know, if there's a tunnel out there that can fit the Buzzard here, I can generally fly it into it. It's a lot of fun doing that, but it's cool that it fits. It's agile. It can take it. It's got these cool little blades that you can actually, you know, skid your way along in the snow at the winter time, or along the beach here. So, you know, wherever, if you think you're going to hit something, you're coming along too fast, try to angle the bottom of this towards it. You know, like your angle, like pull right back and try to get it to hit the building first or the ground first. And quite often this is the hardest part of the aircraft, and you can bounce it so a long way along here. It might smash the windows, but you'll find it'll take a lot of punishment down there. Same thing goes for when people are shooting at you with their assault rifles and things like that. You know, if you can get away, if they haven't killed you yet, it's best to turn the helicopter like this, or the bottom, the belly at it, and that way you've got all this metal between you and them. You know, obviously you can't shoot them that way, but this is to get away and save your life kind of thing. All right, but otherwise it can actually take more punishment than people think. You know, I fly a lot of aircraft these days, and a lot of them smoke and get black smoke when they're damaged. And maybe it's just my imagination, but I swear the Buzzard seems to last longer when it's got black smoke. When I've got black smoke, you know you've only got so much time before it gives you that beep, 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 and you know that it's game over and it's engine failure and it goes down. And I find that the other helicopters, you've only got so long once you see the black smoke. But the Buzzard seems to travel almost double or triple as long as I think it will when I've got black smoke. Almost always it gets me back to the office, even when I think it's not going to. So that's a pretty cool feature. Yeah, so I like it. All right, guys, so let's go back to the office, and I'm going to show you a couple more little more advanced features of it, I guess you could say. So we'll see you back in a minute. All right, everybody. So now we're back in the office. So you might have different offices. It doesn't really make any difference, but I would suggest leaving this way. Now, I would say you don't always have to do this. This costs a tiny bit of money. It's not much. It's a couple $100, which is nothing in the game. You know, it's change. But still, you know, over time that can add up. So you don't have to do it this way. And sometimes when you're feeling lazy or doing things that you're comfortable with, you can just use the CEO menu like we just shown you and just keep on, like we just went through there, just keep on spawning the Buzzard through there, okay, for free. But that said, say you're concerned about things, what I'd suggest doing is when you're doing your crate missions, your sourcing missions, and all these other things, I would suggest when you leave your office to do it this way, exit via vehicle, okay? So you bring up exit via vehicle, and then from there we can leave by the Buzzard Attack Chopper. I have some coffee here. And it's $500, which isn't much in the game, really. But it does add up, so it is good to remember that the other way is free. Now the reason why I say this is because you get to leave this way as one little advantage, is it does this little automatic liftoff. And if there's other players in the realm, you know, other players in the session, they just see you lift off from here. So you've got a couple moments of invulnerability, and you're already in flight, so you don't have to run around and get in the helicopter and have somebody shoot you while you're doing that. Okay, so you can just take right off in it. Now that said, when we do it this way, whenever you launch that way, if I had to pick my cargo bob, which was another option there, for $200 I can leave in my cargo bob or other things like that. Anytime you pick any of those helicopters from the office, it spawns in your personal helicopter. So there's my helicopter right here. So let's go on the map here, just to show you guys. So there's our helicopter right up here on the roof, and we can see that it's gold. It's kind of like a goldy yellow. And that's because it's our personal helicopter. So anytime you spawn in your personal helicopter, it'll be that same shade. Okay, but we're also part of a company. You can see our company. There's our office icon right there. Okay, and there's the office garage icon. And it shows up in orange because that's our company color right now. So you could have different colors. You could be a office company color in purple or blue or all those other things, brown. It doesn't really make any difference. But you'll be able to tell the difference between the helicopters by the colors. So way over here is my other helicopter where I parked it. I was doing some running around and stuff like that. There's my car. But there's my company helicopter, and I can tell because it's orange, my company color. Okay, so right now I actually have two helicopters out. All right, and I do that by just leaving. You know, you can also call on Pegasus. So you'd go into your contacts and call on Pegasus, and from there, when you called it in and pick it up from the airfield, it gives you your personal vehicle instead of the company vehicle, that orange-colored one. Okay, so the reason why I'm saying this is that basically when you leave like this, like we just did a moment ago, in our personal helicopter, in our golden helicopter, it basically means that doing it this way I'd recommend because you basically keep your company vehicle, your company helicopter as a backup. So if I was out here doing my mission, maybe getting crates or maybe running Headhunter or Sightseer, okay, you can run those missions through your VIP menu, VIP work, your interactive menu, Sightseer, Headhunter. Okay, so let's just say that I'm doing a crate mission or something like that, and this gets shot down, or I smash it up, or it gets damaged one way or another. So basically, because it's my personal vehicle, I can land it. Or maybe it's gotten destroyed, let's just say. But either way, I can instantly spawn in. There we go, a little bit of destruction. I can instantly spawn in the other one, right? So I can go through my CO menu and then CO vehicles, as we were covering before, and then spun in the Buzzard that way. And so if you imagine that one is being destroyed, or if I just died, or if that one's damaged, I could instantly spawn in this one. My company one, my orange one. Okay, so in this way, you actually get 2 Buzzards for the price of 1. Or you can have 2 helicopters. So say your Cargo Bob, if you have one, you know, or other ones like your Savage or other things like that. If you happen to want to use a combination. Generally, I use my Cargo Bob a lot for car sourcing for the CEO cargo warehouses, and then I'll use my Buzzard as another backup. So oftentimes I'll land my Cargo Bob, kind of like you see my helicopter down there. So, you know, there's only a few missions where you can't use your Cargo Bob all the way. You might have to kill some guys before you can get the car. So I'd land my Cargo Bob, like that one, and then I'd spawn in my CEO helicopter like you just seen me do, and then I'd fly around and kill all the bad guys, and then I'd land again, pick up my Cargo Bob, grab the car, and bring it back to my warehouse. Okay, so I just wanted to cover it. Maybe some people haven't done a lot of that. Some people have, so you know, if you guys already know this, good for you, and forgive me for going over it. But a lot of people out there haven't quite realized that when you launch by vehicle, or you call Pegasus, it's giving you your personal vehicle, not your company vehicle, which means that you can have the 2 helicopters like I just shown you. Okay, so it's really handy. 2 helicopters, or 2 Buzzards. Or, and many times I like to think of it as a backup helicopter. I fly around on any sensitive missions. Anytime I'm worried about other players or I don't want to fail, I fly around in my personal one, and then I can always call in my CEO, my company one, as a backup. Now that said, I was mentioned the MC sales. A lot of times I'll use my personal one because you obviously can't use your company one when you're part of the motorcycle club, you know, unfortunately. But still, you can use your personal one, your golden helicopter. You know, if you guys look on my left of my map there, you'll see the golden helicopter showing up there. So I could use that one and use my MC sail. Okay, so I could go off and do that. Now, I should also say, being on the subject that we're on the 2 helicopters, that if you do spawn this in for your friend and things like that, that you do want to remember it's part of your company. So if you quit the company, or if you leave, it would exit your friend out of that helicopter kind of rudely. So watch out for that. Okay, all right. Yeah, so that's very handy. Very, very handy. So I think we're going to go through some more advanced tactics now, maybe in the rain here. I think that's about it for the Buzzard, why I think it's pretty much the best purchase in the game and as of May 2017, mainly because you can spawn it in through the CEO menu. But like I said, you can use it on your MC sales just as a way to get a quick head start, or as a way, if you're doing it solo, to get back and forth. So I was saying earlier about you know, getting a head start down to the airport, and then away you go, instead of, you know, riding your bike or using a car that would be slower. You just simply get down there faster in a helicopter. But say if you're doing it solo like we quite often do, for those people that haven't watched our episodes in the past, you know, if you've got like say 3 helicopters, you'd go off and do all your drops for your MC sale, and then you'd quickly on the way back stop and pick up your helicopter from the airport, use Pegasus to call it. You know, because you can't use the company one on the MC sales or things, so you'd have to use your personal one. So you'd call Pegasus and you go to the closest airfield, and then you pick it up and you fly it back and grab the next MC sale, you know, vehicle, whether it's a helicopter or whatnot, and fly it out again, and then pick up your helicopter. Now, of course, that does cost you a little bit of money, but when you're solo, it's really handy. Over the whole mission, it'll save you many minutes, and that can be really handy and make the difference between a failed sale and a successful sale. Right? So that's the Buzzard. It's one of my favorite vehicles. It's definitely my workhorse, as I said earlier. I use it all the time. Now, I don't know if it's the best for players. You know, some people wonder what's the best one for fighting other players. I don't know. I would say the Hydra might be better, but that's not really a helicopter. For helicopters, I'd say the Savage might be a good solo one because it's got a cannon for a helicopter, and it has rockets that just keep on firing and firing and firing. But the Buzzard's hard to beat just because you can instantly spawn. It's the only one that you can instantly spawn in the CEO menu. Of course.
Los Santos is a dangerous place, and vehicle crashes are at an all-time high. No one knows this better than Morse Mutual Insurance. Take out full coverage insurance with us, and we'll replace your vehicle free of charge.
Yeah, well, it's usually free. Not always free. Anyway. So back to our Buzzard here. So yeah, it's definitely the workhorse. It's hard to beat it in the interactive menu. So here we are in the interactive menu again. And we're going to go down to the vehicles. And as you guys can see, if you look through, there is no other helicopters that I'm aware of that you can spawn in other than the Buzzard. Okay, attack helicopters, I should say. There is other helicopters, but they are not attack helicopters, which is the obvious, advantage. They have weapons. All right, so let's launch Headhunter and check it out. So that's pretty much the basics of it, but now we're going to get into showing it in action. Headhunter is just a good way. Think of it as a stand-in for anything. You guys might want to do Headhunter sites here, and that will pay for itself right there. But as you get more advanced, you'll be using it for your car warehouses, for your crate missions, for your crate warehouses, all that kind of stuff. We're just going to run Headhunter as an example, so you don't necessarily have to do this, but it's a good little example to show the Buzzard in action. So here's our Headhunter. There's our 4 targets. Okay, so let's go see if we can assassinate them. So we're going to go over here to the right, to the left. Okay, so when you're flying around in the Buzzard, and some of this applies to other helicopters too, but we'll keep it to the Buzzard here. I like to keep it on the homing missile, like we are right now. So we'll switch through weapons so you guys can see. So there's our missiles. Okay? Now be careful when you're around other players. I should say that you will lock on to other players. So if you don't want to be rude or necessarily, to be provocative that way, aggressive that way, you might want to keep it on machine guns. Okay? That said, sometimes you want to repel people or let them know you're looking at them. And switch to missiles, lock on. Just be aware you might be calling on the action by doing so. Okay? I only tell you that because some people walk around locking on, or fly around, I should say. Well, walk around. But they'll fly around locking on to other players and not realize why other players are turning around and attacking them. Because you're locking on. So, anyway. Yeah. So, back to our homing missiles. Now, when you're in the homing missiles, regular missiles, I like to use it like this. So there's our beepin. It's basically a radar. Okay, so I'm not going to fire right now. I'm just kind of showing you guys that you can use this like a radar system. So when I'm using crate missions or all kinds of different types of missions, I'll fly up on the target, even MC resupply missions, and you can see where all the enemies are. Okay? So your rotor buttons turn you left and right. Alright? And on most controllers, that's the shoulder buttons. But you could have it set up differently. Either way, your rotor buttons that turn you is also your targeting buttons. So as you can see, I'm going to tap my rotor buttons and you guys can see the targets will change way over there. Okay? So they're changing through all the targets. So those are all the VIP bodyguards around the VIP over there. So now we've locked on the VIP. I just played this mission too many times in the past. And we're going to fire. Dead. Dead. Assassinated target. Okay, so we got to watch out for that fishbowl. Those guys fire on us because, we're very vulnerable like that. So that's how you do the targeting, and that's how the radar system works. I call it a radar system, to me. So I just think of it that way. And it is incredibly handy that way. Many times you fly up on things and, your assistant might tell you it's peaceful or something like that, but you'll fly up and you'll lock on the targets and you'll know that there's bad guys just waiting for you. So you'll know that there's a trap ahead of time. It's really handy that way. Just remember, don't fire right away. Okay, because sometimes those guys, like see these, my target there, they could be the crate. They could be standing right beside the crate truck if it was a crate mission. They could be standing beside what you're after. If it's an MC resupply, they could be right beside it. So you really want to be careful for that. So make sure you know what you're shooting at before you open fire. So they fire 2 rockets at a time. Okay, you can only fire 2 at a time in the Buzzard, but that's usually plenty if you time it right. Okay, some people prefer to fire 1 at a time, and then you can keep firing. You'd fire 1, and then 1, and then 1, and then 1. Personally, I kind of do a double tap. I kind of like the 2 of them. I find it doesn't take long to recharge it. So here's our other target here. I know from experience that that's it right there. So I can easily switch through the targets. And there's our bad guy right there. There we go. Dead. So, that's the homing missiles. Now, dumbfire is just, dumbfire, right? Straight fire. Which is handy. A lot of more advanced players will know that they should, a lot of the homing missiles, as long as you keep going to sideways, it's hard to hit a sideways moving target. Or a target that's coming right at you. If they're head on right at you, it's hard to hit them with a homing missile. But with a dead fire missile, you can try to aim where they're going to be, and you might be able to take them right out. Okay? So they're very handy that way. As you get better and better with the helicopter, assuming that you're not an expert or anything like that right now, you'll find that the homing missiles, the direct fire, are actually pretty handy. Okay, now machine guns. Machine guns are probably the most advanced weapon on this. I would say a lot of people think they're useless, and they're probably right. They are mostly useless. But that said, I would say as you get better at it, as you become more an advanced pilot, I guess you could say, you can use them. They do get handy. I find they're useful for situations where, like, see this pedestrian running along here, walking along here. You know, say if he was surrounded, say you're watching a bunch of players fight each other, and you don't want to shoot your friends, or you don't want to shoot certain players that aren't bothering you, but one of them is. You know, machine guns are kind of a handy way to hit the one guy. Of course, I'm going to miss because I'm trying to show you guys. But it is a good spray and forget kind of weapon. There we go. And it's very obvious where I'm shooting, like you guys just seen. So, like, it's very obvious. And what I mean by that is that other players won't think you're shooting at them. It'll be very obvious to see who you're shooting at, right? And it's a way to single out individual people. When you're firing rockets, some people at the ground level can't tell who you're shooting at, and they might just assume you're a threat and start shooting at you. So I find the machine guns are a way to single out your targets and get them, once you're an advanced enough pilot to use them. I think our target got way far away from us, didn't he? He's running. It's okay, we got plenty of time on the clock. Usually I finish this mission in like 2 minutes to 5 minutes. It's very fast, but I'm just kind of using it to show you guys. So while we're catching up to them, the machine guns are also useful as a close-range defensive weapon. Okay, so we were talking about that back router being useful. You can swing it around with your router and nail people that are trying to hijack your helicopter. Okay, but it's also pretty good to hit people too when they're at close range. So let me just take out this target. Looks like he's running along here. So it's harder to hit them when they're moving along like this, but you will if you're patient. Let's let him get around underneath. I could fit underneath, but no reason why we can't take our time. Here, let me just back up. We'll show you the range on this. It actually has a pretty good range. So we're still locked on. Still locked on. And we are still locked on. Back up some more. See, now we've lost our lock. But that's a pretty good range. Zoom back in. A little bit more. There we go. Okay, now you get better. You know, when you're a new pilot, you have a tendency to go like this and go forward at things and keep firing, and you'll get better at it. But over time, you'll learn to just kind of stay back and hang back and just kind of keep nailing them, much like a mortar almost. You know, you just keep nailing it with them. You know, as much as possible, stay away from where they can hit you. Okay, so that's our mission complete. So back to those machine guns. I was looking for people and I didn't see them. Yeah, I guess there's just no crowds. It's one thing that's good about nighttime. Lots of crowds outside. Either way, the machine guns, as we were just showing, are pretty good. So if you were right down here and you imagine that, you know, you really shouldn't be in those situations at all, but for whatever reason, imagine you were surrounded by gangs, let's say, and you just jumped in your helicopter and didn't realize it, and here they are coming up on you. You can just use it like that, you know, as you've seen. And it works really well. For, you know, if you're not a very good pilot, you know, you can switch to machine guns and clear the area around you, you know, or clear the alleyway, things like that, okay? Now, why do I say that? Because it's useful, and main reason is because when you're using the rockets, you don't want to blast yourself like that. See, like how close that was? So it's dangerous to go firing rockets at this level. Plus, when you go lifting off, see how rocky it is? You're liable to just hit yourself on the ground level and blow yourself up, or do damage to the helicopter. But trust me, you'll probably blow yourself up. But the machine guns, you can, you know, if I can't see right and there's chaos, I can just switch to these and just blast. And yeah, it's kind of a fire and hope kind of weapon, but it's better than using those rockets and destroying yourself, right? And believe it or not, that saved my butt many times. Many times from those AIs getting me, and even players too. When you can't see them, or you're in those awkward camera angles, or, you know, the situations where you really shouldn't be in the first place. All right. Yeah, let's land here. Okay. Yeah, it's very nice. Buzzard Attack Chopper. Okay, now I should also say that this office here, maybe I'll take off. Well, the cops are looking for me anyway. So let's say, just in closing here, guys, that, you know, if you get it damaged, as you often will, you'll find that whenever you respawn your company helicopter, so you're talking about colors and the CEO interactive menu, right? Whenever you call in your company helicopter, it will move from where it is on the map to where you are, and it will give you the same helicopter. Now, why do I say that? I say that because it'll keep the damage, okay? And that's not good. So let's just do a little damage here. It's funny, I did that whole thing, no damage. The whole mission there. Maybe I should have set this up better. But either way, the damage will stay. So you want to be able to do repairs. So how do you get free repairs? Is you can just land at the office. Not like I just did, but with the automatic thing I'll show you guys in a second. And it'll automatically repair your helicopter, which is good to know. You can also leave your company, too. Okay, that's through the interactive menu. So we'd go through here, and then we'd go to retire down here. And then we'd rejoin our company again. Okay, so actually I can just retire right now. Boom, kicks me out of the helicopter because that's a company helicopter. So I'm going to try to enter in. You do not have access to this vehicle. That's because it's the company and I'm no longer a part of it. That's my personal helicopter over there. Okay. So, now I'm going to rejoin the company. Secure serve. Register as a CEO. Yep. It's basically telling me that as a CEO that you can't be in passive mode, which means that people can kill you. But that kind of goes with the territory of being public servers, most of the missions anyway. Okay, so now we're back in our company, and we're going to go back into secure serve and vehicles and Buzzard. See, it's ready to go. Boom. Okay, and there it is. Now the other reason why I showed you guys these two in the backup helicopters is because if I blow this helicopter up right now, it'll actually have a cooldown timer. Let's hope I don't blow up that one. Just shut it. Oh, that worked anyway. Good job. It did go right through the window, through this little open slot, but it still exploded it on the other side anyway, so that's good. Oh wait, no, don't jump in. Okay, there we go. Okay, guys, so I wanted to show you. Now I'm going to go into my secure serve menu and try to get another one, and as you can see, it's blanked out. And it says available again in 1 minute 36 seconds. So it's basically a 2-minute cooldown timer. Okay. So I don't think I covered that before earlier when we were talking about that. So that's why the backup helicopter is so important, is because if that, say the AI or a player just took me out, and that was I was just flying around in my helicopter, I would have to wait 2 minutes to be able to respawn another company went in. Okay? That's no good. Look at that. Warning shots. So, that 2-minute timer is no good, especially when you're in the middle of a crisis. As you guys know, you want to go, if your crates are waiting or things are happening, right? So you use your personal vehicle, the golden helicopter. You'd spawn it in, leave via vehicle in the office, right? There's our office there. So you leave via vehicle in the office, or you can use your Pegasus contact on your phone and pick up the helicopter. Well, anytime you want, and that's what I'd recommend anytime you're in sensitive missions. That way you have your company one as a backup ready to go, and so you don't have to wait 2 minutes when your helicopter gets destroyed. It's ready to go immediately. Alright, and I think that's about all there is to the Buzzard. Yeah, and we even covered some quick repairs as well. So I was talking about I'd show you guys, so whenever I land like this, so right now it says press to the right to land and enter office, so we're going to do that. And whenever this happens, it repairs your helicopter automatically. And this applies to all helicopters that are out there. So whether it's your personal one or whether it's the company one. Okay? The colored helicopter or your personal golden helicopter.
Good to see you, boss.
Good to see you too. Hey. Alright guys, so this is a way, so anytime you're flying by your office, it's a good idea to land like that, and then you're repairing your helicopter for free. And of course, remember, you can also restart your company as I showed you. Now, why wouldn't you always do that? Just in case you guys are wondering, it's because you might be having friends. If you have friends with you or random players with you, they get paid based on all the things they do with you and the amount of time with you. So in those situations, it's not a good idea to restart your company, or else you reset their pay. Right? So if you wanted to repair your helicopter and not reset their pay, Just fly by the office, land, and then take off again, and you've got a repaired helicopter for free without having to restart the company. All right, guys. Well, that's a bit of a long one, I think, but, the Buzzard is one of the best vehicles, if not the best purchase in the game as far as vehicles go, as of May 2017 anyway. So lots to cover that way. So I hope that gave you lots of good ideas. Hopefully you guys already get a Buzzard. If you haven't already, they are on sale till May 15th, so it's a good time to get them. All right, that's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear, Benny. And if you ask me, it's an invaluable company asset. It's really a great workhorse. Even if you don't like flying, guys, even if you're one of those pilots that just simply flies it and lands it and then does your business and goes, it's a great handy tool to have. Okay? You can steal helicopters. Now, just in closing, I know I keep saying in closing, but I know that a lot of people, tend to think, well, why buy one? Why not steal it all the time? Well, because it's not reliable to steal them. It really isn't. Now your best bet, as I've covered in before, is that you've got the airport here, and if you go from the airport, oh, it doesn't let me set GPS, or else I'd mark it for you guys. That's too bad. Point of interest? Yeah, there we go. I can do points of interest. Okay, so the airport here, you can find helicopters that spawn there. If you guys want to use a Buzzard before you buy one, if you want to test it out, I suppose. And you can sometimes, but rarely, find them right here too. There's also a helicopter bay right in that area too, near the dock. Okay, and then there's a hospital somewhere in this area over here. When I used to play it, I used to consider that the triangle, basically. And from these areas, you'd be able to find a cargo bob or whatever you wanted right in this area, and just keep going around. All right. Now, long story short, I don't recommend it because, it's random, rare. You never know what helicopters are going to be there. And even when you do find a Buzzard and you fly it to your MC sail or you fly it to your mission, it has a tendency to despawn and disappear on you when it's not yours. All right. And that's just no good. So it is well worth it. It will pay for itself. All right, everybody. I'm the Missing Sock. Hope I helped you out. I hope you liked the video. If you did, give us a like, please. And if you're new here, you should subscribe. It's free and it really helps us out. And we'll see you again next time for more videos of Grand Theft Auto 5. All right. And like I said, guys, I really thought I should just do this. It's really a tip video, and like I said, one of the top tips for most players out there is to buy a Buzzard. And there's just so much to cover that you just can't cover it in a tips video without giving it its own video to do its justice, to really cover everything. Why it's so good for those players that don't know. All right. Take care, everybody. See you again next time. Bye-bye.